Mother Justice. Tonight, I'm going to be doing a lecture on, what does being labeled 730 mean when you go into the courts and, you know, they try to label you as being mentally unfit to proceed on your own behalf or period. And this is, how they start to get you the contract with one of their public defenders or whatever. So let me just get this together. So 730.10 in the New York codes for their state statutes, fitness to proceed. And I'm just going to get this for like a generalized meaning because, it might be a little bit different from each state, but it's all basically the same. All right, so I'm going to just get right into it. 730.10. What makes a person mentally unfit to proceed? So, number one is the incapacitated person. It means a defendant who, as a result of some mental disease or defect, lacks the capacity to understand the proceeding against him or to assist in his own defense. Now, I always say this because I have to say it. I'm not an attorney. I don't give legal advice. But how many of us that go into their foreign jurisdiction in their courtroom understand the nature of their proceedings? Do they even follow their proceedings? Is a good question. Okay, so a magistrate you may go into a court, especially if you are what you label yourself as a Moor, or if you're going in there to be what the courts call pro se. You go in there and start saying things like they ask you questions like you're being charged with some statute, and you start saying things like I don't I don't consent, or you start saying things like you don't plead. And then you could start saying stuff like, oh, I reserve my rights, I don't, this is contested, whatever. You start going to terminology like that, they'll start asking you a question like this. And this is how you know they're trying to open up the floodgates to the whole you not being mentally stable to go in there and present your own case. So a magistrate may ask you without the intent to have you psychologically examined, or via to order an examination. You know what I'm saying? So they'll ask you questions like, have you taken any mind altering drugs today? Because you're definitely not going up there saying what the rest of everybody else is in the courtroom saying. So they're going to ask you questions like, have you been taking any mind altering drugs today? All right. So according to the parents portray doctrine, which in Latin means parent of the country, a doctrine that grants the inherent power or authority of the state to protect persons who are legally unable to act on their own behalf. And the reason why I'm bringing up parents portray doctrine is because this is the basis for why they must, when you don't want to cooperate and comply, okay, you go look up the United States codes for compliance, and it's basically involuntary servitude. So when you get someone that goes up in there and does not want to comply with the nature of their proceedings, you don't want to